Hello there, everybody. My name is Brad Bilski, and I will be your instructor for our Macroeconomics BA 251 class this June mini. I'm putting together this video to go through the syllabus, explain the requirements of the course, talk about our assignments, grading, and all that stuff. And I'm also going to walk you through the course page on Sakai. So some of you may have never taken an online course before or maybe aren't super familiar with working on Sakai. So I'm going to kind of show you where everything can be found on the website in regards to our course. So at the top of this syllabus, and if you wanted to pause the video, you can actually bring up the syllabus in Sakai. Hopefully you all have received an invite from the system asking you to join our course page. If you go to the page itself, there is an area that specifically houses the syllabus. All right, so if you click on the syllabus area in Sakai and double click on that Word document, you'll have access to that syllabus yourself. So going through this, I have my contact information up top. Notice this is the June mini term, so it's a very quick course. We only meet for about 3.5 weeks, and of course, the course is totally online, so we won't actually physically meet, but we'll be doing all our work through Sakai. I'd be happy to speak with you guys by phone or do a Skype session if you wanted to meet, if you had any questions about the course. The best way to get in touch with me is through my email address. I try to check that every day throughout the semester. So if you did want to set up a meeting by phone or Skype, just email me first. We'll figure out the specifics of when and how we can meet, and we can work out the logistics over the email, then meet over Skype or by phone. The course description here, this is a macroeconomics course, and basically there's two broad categories or subdisciplines within economics. We have microeconomics and macroeconomics. So microeconomics, as you might kind of imply from the name of the class or course, it deals with smaller issues. So it deals with decisions made by individuals, whether it's individual consumers or individual companies. What we're going to do in macroeconomics is look at more of the big picture, what's going on with the entire economy. So, of course, the entire economy is made up of all those individual businesses and consumers, but we're not going to look at their individual decision making. We're going to look at factors that affect the entire economy. So we're going to look at things like how quickly the economy grows. That's our GDP growth rate. We're going to look at the rate of inflation, which is basically how quickly prices go up. So unemployment rates, how many people are working, how many people are looking for work. All these different variables are things that affect the entire macroeconomy. So this course is going to help you understand how to gauge the performance of an entire economy. So that's useful to you on a couple of different levels. First off, as somebody who might own or run a business, or as an investor, you're interested in that information because it's going to help shape your decision making. Should you open up a new store or a new factory in a certain area? Should you hire new employees at a certain time? All of these types of issues are affected by things going on in the macroeconomy. And also as an individual citizen who's voting for leaders, for president, for Congress, and all the way down to our local governments, you want to have an understanding of how the macroeconomy works. The decisions that the politicians make will affect what's going on in the economy overall. So you want to be well versed in understanding what goes on behind those decisions, how public policy is shaped, all right, how economics and policy kind of interlink. So we have our course level learning outcomes here as well as the program learning outcomes. I'll let you guys kind of go through those on your own. I want to scroll down and start talking a little bit more about the grading for the course. And first off, you can see our required text is the Greg Mankiw Principles of Economics text. It's the 8th edition. So make sure you have that within the first couple days of the course. Being this is totally an online course, there are videos posted that will help you, but most of the learning is coming from reading your textbooks. So you really have to have that book. So if you don't have it already, try to get a rush order in. Try to get that book as quickly as possible. Our grading policy here, we have basically 5 different ways that your grade will be determined. The first thing that we have is our weekly quizzes. So each chapter is going to have 1 quiz per chapter, and we're going to have 5 chapters per week for the first 3 weeks. That's going to be 15 quizzes overall. Those are always due on Sunday evening, so the first batch of quizzes is out there and it's available to be worked on, so you could work on all of those over the first couple of days of the class if you want, or you could wait to do them later in the week. But they always open up on Monday morning and they close on Sunday night. So most of your work at this class is going to be due on Sunday evenings. You have that flexibility. You could do it whenever you want during the week. You have the entire week to work on it. My suggestion for a class like this is that you try to maybe set a couple hours aside each day to work on your classwork. So maybe do 1 chapter a day for 5 days or something like that. This is an accelerated class, so you're going to get the same material you would get if we took this class in the fall or spring semester where it ran for like 4 months. So you're getting that same amount of material, but it's a much more condensed time frame. So you have to put more time in per week to be able to get through that material. So basically each week we're covering what we normally would cover in a full month of the course in a typical semester. So you're covering 5 chapters this first week. Usually in a full semester you do like 1 chapter a week, so much more accelerated. So there's quizzes. If you look at it in Sakai, 2 different ways you could access the quizzes. First off, there is an individual tab for tests and quizzes. You can go there and that'll show you all the different assignments that are out there. And the vantage point you're looking at here is a little bit different. You're seeing it from my perspective. So let's go to student view, and this is what you guys should see. This is the first 5 quizzes that are open this week, and you can just double click on the quiz and it takes you in there. These are all going to be multiple choice. There's no time limit for the quizzes. You are free to use your books and use your notes. You want to hit the honor pledge here, then you hit begin assignment and it loads the first one up. All right, and we see here economics is the study of how society manages its, and then you want to pick which one is the correct answer. All right, so in this case we have limited resources and unlimited wants. All right, so we'll go with D. On that one, you just click it, you hit next, and that just takes you on to the next question. So pretty self-explanatory, but just wanted to show you guys where you find that. A second way you can access the quizzes, I have things broken up into weekly modules. So right now you could access the first week's module, and it gives you a breakdown. First off, a little synopsis of what we're going to be covering. Notice there's the 5 chapters we cover. They're not always in chronological or numerical order. Notice we cover the first 4, then we jump to chapter 23. So we'll go down through the schedule of chapters here in a bit once we go back to the syllabus. But notice for each particular chapter for the week, there's a little button you could hit to take you into that sub page. So for chapter 1, a little explanation of what the chapter is about. If you hit that link, that takes you into that sub page where it gives you more detailed information about the learning objectives for the chapter. And then you can also access the quiz by double clicking there. So that's going to take you to the same place that we went when we went through tests and quizzes. Now, some of these individual sub pages have links to videos. I think maybe chapter 3 is a situation like that. All right, so notice there's a little video here that you guys are going to want to watch. Actually, there's 2 of them for this particular chapter, and then you have your link to your quiz there as well. So these 2 videos are ones that are kind of from outside sources. Sometimes I also just post videos that I've created kind of going through the details of a particular topic if it's really super important, or maybe kind of more complicated. For instance, this supply and demand video link. I have 3 videos out on YouTube that detail supply and demand, which is a really critical concept for studying economics. So that's something you might want to watch. If you read through the chapters on supply and demand, it's not making sense to you, that video might help to clarify that a little bit. Now, in addition to those quizzes, which are 30% of your grade, so each quiz you take is basically 2% of your final grade. 15 quizzes at 2% each makes 30%. We will have a final exam, which is worth 30% of your grade. All right, and that is going to be cumulative, so that covers everything from those first 3 weeks of the class. We'll talk about the final exam a little more once we get closer to that. And the class is roughly 3.5 weeks. So that last kind of like half week of the course, we'll be working through the final exam and our final project. Every week you're going to have a discussion board post and a homework assignment in addition to your quizzes. And these are also due on Sunday evenings. So basically for a normal week, you'll have 5 quizzes, 1 homework assignment, and you'll have that 1 discussion board post. And you could find those in Sakai. Again, same deal. You can kind of go in, and for the discussion boards, you go under forums, and you just kind of, if you want to look at the full description, it shows you what we're asking about. The forums are usually having you discuss things or asking you questions about how economics relates to your personal life or some things you might have seen in the economy. So I'm not requiring you to post response posts to other students. We have a small class, so that's kind of difficult to do time-wise, but make your initial post. As we go through the course, I'll kind of talk about, once the posts are completed, I'll talk about the different answers you guys have provided, kind of compare that to what might be the technically correct answer, compare that to some of the concepts we learn about in our book. So you want to make that discussion board post by Sunday evening. And also under assignments, you have your weekly assignments. So this first one is on international trade. If you click on there, you'll get some basic instructions. Usually you're going to be answering a few questions, either related to articles I've posted or videos I've posted. So basically these assignments are kind of integrating information from your textbook with stuff that's thrown out there from other sources, kind of bringing that together and trying to use or make practical application of some of the more theoretical concepts that we have in our text. So showing how all this stuff you're reading about actually relates to real life. So that's a typical week for the class, taking those 5 quizzes, all right, doing the assignment, doing the discussion board post. The quiz answers are automatically made available for you on Monday morning, so there's no late work accepted for the quizzes. That's not fair to everybody who turned their work in by Sunday evening, to be letting people then take the quiz once the answers are out there. If you post a discussion board, if you don't do the discussion board or an assignment by Sunday night, I will accept late work on that, but it will be a 10% deduction per day late. So really try to make sure you get all this stuff in on time. That's the best way to ensure you'll get a good grade in the course. We're also going to have a semester end project, which is worth 10% of our final grade. So once we get near the end of the course, I'll start talking about that also in a little more detail. We can see here a course outline just showing each week what we're doing. We already talked about the idea that in the first week, we're going to cover chapters 1 through 4 and chapter 23. So all that stuff is due on June 10th, this Sunday night coming up, the first batch of quizzes, the first homework, and also the first discussion board post. Notice week 2, we're doing chapters 24 through 28, same kind of deal. I have there that we're going to do a remote now proctor test. We'll talk about that a little later on in the course. Basically, remote proctor now is a third-party vendor that we take our tests through for the course. We've had some updates to Sakai, so I'm still trying to figure out if that's going to link with Sakai. So I'll let you guys know if we're going to use that remote proctor as we go through the course. Your quizzes, there won't be any outside party kind of monitoring you or anything. You just go into Sakai, take your quiz like you typically would. The idea with remote proctor now is for the final exam, we like to have assurances that everybody is actually doing their own work. So it's a good system to safeguard the integrity of the course. We're just going to have to see if we can get that up and running with the updates to Sakai. Week number 3, we have chapters 29, 30, 33, 34, 35, and then same deal, Sunday night, all that stuff's due. If you notice the last week, kind of that shortened week of the course, I do have 3 additional quizzes there. These are bonus quizzes. You're not required to take them, but they can help your grade. They can't hurt your grade. So basically, if you take these 3 quizzes, they'll be used in place of your 3 lowest grades. So if you take these 3 extra quizzes and you bomb them, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your grade. If you just want to take 1 or 2 of them, maybe you had, 14 of your 15 quizzes you did great on, but you did really poorly on 1, you could take just 1 of the bonus quizzes to try to make up for that bad grade. So you have some flexibility there. Again, they only help your grade, so I encourage you guys to work through those. Chapter 31, 32, and 36, they won't be included on the final exam. So the final exam just is going to cover these first 15 chapters that we work through in the first 3 weeks of the class. All right, so that about covers the due dates and all the different homework assignments. We can see the grading scale there, pretty typical, an A, 940 to 1,000 points. So this is all going to be based on a point system. So I should note, when you get your discussion board post grades and your assignment grades, those are each worth 15% of your total for the entire category. So each discussion board post, each assignment is worth 5% of your final grade, or 50 points. So if you get a 50 as your grade, that's 50 out of 50. That's 100%. I've seen some folks in the past would get like a 47 and they think they failed it. That's actually 47 out of 50. So all of your assignments will be graded on the point system in this class. All right, so I think that about covers everything. Play around on the Sakai site and look through the different areas of it. Let me know if you have any questions. If you have any problems accessing the site, please let me know. Immediately go through that syllabus in detail, read all through it, and let me know if there's anything I can help you out with.